What's a sprint goal? It's a one-sentence summary of the focus of the sprint. Think about the sprint goal this way. Suppose you get in the office elevator, push the button to go to your floor, and your boss's boss, not just your boss, but your boss's boss, comes running up to the elevator and yells, "Hold the elevator." Your boss's boss gets in the elevator with you and says, "Hey, what are you working on this sprint?" Very friendly, just wants to know what you're working on in the sprint. I don't know about you, but anytime I've had a conversation with my boss's boss, I've had one goal: get out of that conversation as quickly as possible. It's dangerous talking to the boss's boss. So when the boss's boss says, "Mike, what are you working on this sprint?" I'm nervous. I don't want to tell my boss's boss everything in the sprint backlog. Well, we're adding a field to the database, and I'm going to justify the dollar column on a report. This is way too much detail. The boss's boss does not want to hear my sprint backlog. The boss's boss probably doesn't even want to hear a list of all the user stories or job stories the team selected for the sprint. That's also too much detail. What the boss's boss is looking for is a one-sentence summary of what the team is trying to get done in the sprint. So if the boss's boss asks me what we're working on, I should say something like, "This sprint, we're implementing the basic shopping cart functionality, including add, remove, and update quantities." That's a sprint goal. Next sprint, when the boss's boss asks me what we're working on, I'm going to say, "Well, we're working on trying to finish the checkout process, pay for an order, pick shipping method, order gift wrapping," things like that. Notice these things are related. They're all in the shopping cart or checkout area of the system. Teams tend to have a gradual migration through an area of the product. They don't usually work in one area and then a totally different area in the next sprint and then back to the first area. From sprint to sprint, the work tends to be related. And you can see how they've kind of evolved through parts of the system. So a sprint goal is meant to be a one-sentence summary that helps those outside the Scrum team understand what the team is trying to accomplish in the sprint. We do this because it provides greater context for the work being undertaken, and it helps stakeholders understand why they're being asked to participate in a sprint review. That means a sprint goal is good to include in your email inviting people to the sprint review. Sharing the sprint goal then helps stakeholders know if they should attend. One more thing I want to share about sprint goals is that some teams write horrible sprint goals. It's not really their fault. Think about working on a team that is working on 6 or 7 completely unrelated things. I'll see this a fair amount in digital agencies, for example. A team in that situation may do work for 5 or 6 different clients in a sprint. One client might need a bunch of work this sprint, a second client needs a fair amount, and then there are 3 or 4 that just need a tiny bit of work in the sprint. It would be hard in those types of situations to turn the goals of multiple clients into a one-sentence sprint goal. Some teams try and end up with sprint goals such as finish the 7 user stories we committed to. But finish the 7 stories we committed to is not a good sprint goal. A sprint goal has to be higher level than that. Yet, if you're working on things for 7 different clients and you've got 1 user story from each, you probably can't write a very good sprint goal. What this boils down to is that sprint goals are very helpful for some teams, but not for all teams in the world. That's why I would consider them an optional part of Scrum. I absolutely want you to try sprint goals to see if they work for you. But if they don't work for you, that's okay, especially if you're in a situation like I just described. Are you using sprint goals? Do they help focus your team on the most important work to complete in the sprint? Let me know in the comments. I read and value every comment. If this video has been helpful, click the like button. And if you're new to the channel, click subscribe so you don't miss out on future tips to help you succeed with Agile. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.